Minasan konnichiwa. Welcome to the best Japanese lesson in the galaxy. I'm your sensei Joe. Today, I want to answer some of the questions that many people have been asking me. So, since I started teaching you guys Japanese and the Japanese culture and everything, many people have been asking me what are some of the places that people should visit when checking out Japan. And here are my top 5 that I personally think are wonderful, my recommendations, but you got to understand that everybody's got their own different preferences. So this might not apply to some of you, but to me, these 5 listings are wonderful. So let's talk about it a little bit. And by the way, I'm not, how do you say, I'm not so professional in talking about like the small technical stuff. Like, well, I'll tell you guys what it's all about. So let's go on as I start talking about it. All right, number 1, and these don't really, how do you say? I didn't rank them in some like order or anything. I'm just telling you guys they're all equally awesome. So this is it. Number 1, Tokyo, obviously. Tokyo is the, how do you say, the most populated, the latest stuff happening. If you want like the latest, how do you say, not technology, but like the hip stuff, man, like the cool stuff, like a kawaii and the kakoi stuff, all that stuff. Yeah, how many times did I say stuff? But I'm pretty sure that a lot of people already know at least some things about Tokyo, right? Like Shibuya is there, Shinjuku is there, Akihabara, which is very well known for anime stuff. Ikebukuro is also for anime stuff, and one other place, Nakano Broadway, is also for anime stuff. So, you know, if you want to check out the image that you see in many animes or something like that, like high skyscrapers and very technological, advanced, futuristic, and experience the super populated intersection in Shibuya, or yeah, what's really cool about Tokyo is that you can find basically food from any part of the world. And I'm not saying like all 100 whatever countries, but it's really funny when people come up to me and say, "Oh, have you tried this food before from our country, Joe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they have restaurants in Tokyo, or like more like in Japan." But like, yeah, like you can. The chances are you can find at least one restaurant that is dedicated to almost every country in the world. Now, it's kind of dangerous when I say that because, as I said, when I say that, it's not technically like every single country's food is all like you can find any of that in Tokyo. No, but the chances are high. What I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of how do you say, when it comes to cuisines and stuff, if you do a little bit of research, you can find vegetarian or like vegan restaurants, or like, you know what I'm saying, you can find restaurants to your own preference if you do it correctly. And so the variety is amazing in Tokyo, and well, just like in any other part of Japan, the train is really punctual. So and most of all, it's very accessible. Like you can get to any part of Tokyo basically just by taking public transport. So you don't need to rent cars, although it would make it easier. But yeah, just by walking in trains, you can totally access almost to any part of Tokyo. And like Harajuku and stuff, that's Tokyo too. So if you're the type of person who wants to go clubbing or all that, like bachik doonchika stuff, right? Nightlife, and if you're one of those people who don't want to be alone and you want something to always be happening around you, go out with friends, yeah, dip yippity yo yay, then Tokyo might be the place to check out. And I mean, also because how do you say, for most countries, when you're flying to Tokyo, you know, that's the destination where you can find the most tickets too. Although there are some countries that fly directly to, say, Osaka or Fukuoka and things like that, but mostly it's probably going to be Tokyo because it's got the most number of flights to overseas, like to and from overseas. And by the way, this is a little bit of information for you guys. When they say Tokyo Narita, Narita is technically not Tokyo. It's in a different prefecture called Chiba, just like Disneyland, like Tokyo Disneyland, but it's not like they're not in Tokyo. Isn't that interesting? They just probably wanted to call it Tokyo because it's easier for people to understand or something, but technically they're not in Tokyo, but it's called Tokyo. So I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying it flies to Tokyo, although technically it doesn't, it's not Tokyo, but oh well, whatever. It's about maybe 40 minutes to an hour taking the train from Narita Airport to the center of Tokyo. So that's kind of, it's not too bad, right? Yeah, there are buses, there are trains that that will take you to Tokyo, like Tokyo. Yeah. So, yeah. Uh, so there it is, Tokyo, and then number two would be Kyoto. Yes, this is what I like when my friends ask me, you know, what's a good spot to visit, and if I like if they want the authentic Japanese stuff, you know, the for the lack of words, like the typical stereotypical image of Japan, like the good old Japanese scenery and stuff, with all the, how do you say, the kimonos and the buildings that look very samurai-ish, although that doesn't really make sense, but like, you know, the sliding doors and the, you know what I'm talking about. It's the good old Japanese style, like the authentic Japanese scenery. It would be Kyoto. It's actually one of the very few places in Japan where you can still see how Japan used to be, like back in the days kind of stuff. It's interesting because a lot of people around the world don't realize that Japan is a very, very high-tech country, but yet people think it's like ninja and samurai and like wah, and every floor is how do you say, like the dry haystack or whatever called, you know, the old school Japanese floor. Although you can find them in a lot of places, but like they think it's all that, and everybody's wearing kimono and geisha everywhere, and whoa, it's kind of rare these days to find those places in Japan. So it is very like important, like it is a very important part of Japan, I feel like, Kyoto, because it did used to be the capital of Japan, and you can see, like, it's just wonderful, from anything from the scenery to the food that you can find. Like, it's really nice when you, if you can afford and if you can find by searching or something, like a really authentic Japanese restaurants that serve you this colorful, beautiful variety meal. What you can find is like anything from fish, meat, vegetables, anything like soupy, like new, like everything is in there. It's just like an art of its own, and it's beautiful for sure, and the taste is just amazing as well. So yeah, I don't think I can talk about it all here, like in this video, because there's so much to talk about. But if you do a little bit of research, you know, I'm sure you'll find that it's, yeah, authenticity is what's up, I feel like, in Kyoto. And it's a lot of temples and stuff that you can find there too. It's really one of a kind. It's one of a kind if you want that good old Japanese stuff going on, and it's Kyoto. And for number two, I kind of bunched up Osaka with Kyoto too, because it's really close. Kyoto and Osaka is really close, so that's why. And Osaka is a very different city compared to Tokyo. It's kind of like the opposite. Tokyo is more so, how do you say? It's kind of like New York, you know. Tokyo is like New York, but way cleaner and way more convenient and stuff like that. And the people are kind of, well, some people might think that people are cold in Tokyo because they just, you know, mind their own business and go their way. Osaka is more like, hey, so it's a little more LA-ish, maybe? Yeah, I don't know if LA is what I should compare it to, but it's more like talkative and very, how do you say, frank, should I say? Yeah, so for those of you who don't want their, like, how do you say, who doesn't want to really socialize that much, might be like, sometimes might be a little tough, but so far I haven't heard any problems from anyone. But what I really like about Osaka is that compared to Tokyo, the food that you find there are cheap, fast, and delicious. But that kind of goes with any other city practically if you compare to Tokyo. The thing about Tokyo is that things could be a little more expensive than other prefectures most of the time. And then yeah, so Osaka's that like really, if it's like takoyaki, like this the octopus balls, or like okonomiyaki, which is also it's all very starchy, like the food that you can find in Osaka. So it will fill up your stomach for sure, and for a good price and stuff. So yeah, so that was Kyoto and Osaka. And the next one, let's go with number 3, would be Fukuoka. Fukuoka is possibly one of my most how do you say, one of my favorite cities in Japan. Fukuoka is definitely one of the cities that people are not that familiar with when compared to Tokyo or Osaka or Kyoto, right? Like people would be like, Fukuoka, all right, what? But Fukuoka, like if I let me find something. Let's get this. If I take a look at this, and this is Japan, okay, right? This is the, how do you say, the northernmost part of Japan to the southernmost. It's like right here, kind of. It's like right here in Japan. So you kind of go down. Although when looking at a map, people might say like the east and the west and stuff. But to me, Japan doesn't really stretch out like this, as some people might see, or I don't know, maybe it is stretching out like this, but I like to see it like this, like straight from top to bottom, like phoom. But anyway, it's here. You could say like southwestern area, but anyway, the whole area is called Kyushu, and in that Kyushu area, Fukuoka, that's the city that is the most populated, and yeah, well known, and it's really convenient when flying to other parts of Kyushu. And I really like Fukuoka for the amazing food, like even down to the vegetables and stuff. You can feel the nutrition that you can't really taste in Tokyo, let's say, if you're really, how do you say, like sensitive about tasting the nutrition and stuff. But anyway, Fukuoka is also cool because how do you say, when you go out to the nature, like field and stuff, like while you're driving to the next prefecture to maybe like go for hot springs and stuff, which is also another awesome thing. But you can kind of smell the difference in the air, sort of, because, I mean, you do go to the southernmost area of Japan compared to Tokyo, which is kind of centered to kind of upward. But sometimes like the things that grow in nature is kind of like a little different too, and the way people are definitely different. And I don't know, I can taste it in the food. Like the nutrition is a little different. I like it very much. The food is awesome, and there's just a lot to do there for me. I used to travel to almost every single prefecture in the Kyushu area to check out the hot springs, which is like another thing that's awesome. By the way, hot springs you can find throughout Japan, and that is one of the things that I missed the most by being in LA, right? Like that's what I miss about Japan. But anyway, yeah, hot springs. Yeah, I love it. I love Fukuoka. There's something about it that just makes me feel like, oh yeah, when I go there. Okay, next one is Okinawa. Yeah, Okinawa is easily explained Hawaii of Japan, right? Okinawa is a very different place because it used to be its own country, and Okinawa is an island, right? Like a series of islands, should I say? And this is, I believe, the only prefecture in Japan that you cannot visit by train. And yeah, every other place you can take the public train, and you can get to any part of Japan, basically. I think, but don't take my word for it. But yeah, so it's farthest away, I think, from let's say if you fly from Tokyo or something. It takes like maybe 3 hours by plane. And what's really cool about Okinawa is though that Sometimes you can find plane tickets for really cheap, like like $100 not round trip though. I think it's just yeah, so $200 round trip or even cheaper, maybe like $160 round trip. But this is pretty insane because if you try to take the bullet train from let's say Tokyo to Osaka, that's already gonna cost like $80 one way. So if you that's like the same price, right? Yeah. When you try to take the bullet train, the how do you say situation is a little like weird sometimes it's cheaper to go overseas than to visit other prefectures in Japan. It's like I don't get it, but what I'm trying to say is that if you book at the right timing you can visit Okinawa for a great price, and it's really cool because the culture, Okinawa's got its own culture. Well, this goes out to any prefecture in Japan. That's what makes it so fascinating. But Okinawa is like another story, man. It surely is like a Hawaii of Japan, and there's so many different things that go on in Okinawa that I can't really describe it in this video itself. But one thing to note is that during winter, it's possibly the warmest area in Japan, and I used to fly away to Okinawa during winter because I'd be fed up with the cold and snow and shit. I don't think it snows in Okinawa, not that I know of. So yeah, I would go there, check out hot springs and whatnot. The food that they have is really different from any other location in Japan too. They like to eat pork like a lot. So if you can't eat pork, you're kind of like, well, although you can find different kinds of restaurants, but if you want to try the authentic Okinawa food, it would be pork based, sort of. And they have their own kind of noodles called the Okinawa soba, or like the soki soba and stuff like that. And what they have is like a chunk of pork, kind of like stewed pork, like a little bit of sweet flavoring, but I love it. It's really nice. And other stuff like Goya champulu. Goya is a type of bitter, what is it called? Like a bitter cucumber thing with like bulging ribs. Like what do you call those? That with spam and tofu and eggs, like all mushed up together. That's really good and healthy. Now, Okinawa food, a lot of people like it, and a lot of people don't like it at the same time because it's just so different, right? It's just so different from what, let's say, people in Tokyo are used to eating. So it is only natural that some people like it and some people love it. I love it. So it's cool, and you can't forget the beautiful beaches. If you go to certain islands in Okinawa, the water is just tropical, man. It's yeah, you can imagine clear blue ocean with fish that you can't find like in other parts of Japan, I guess, like that kind of stuff. It's really the that Hawaiian vacation feel that you get from Okinawa. But it does rain a lot, and typhoon is gnarly, so you might want to check out when you go there. So yeah, that's Okinawa. And finally, I would like to talk about Hokkaido. Now, Okinawa was the southernmost area of Japan, like because it's the island off, like the main island itself. Now, Hokkaido is to the northernmost area of Japan, and what that means naturally is that it is the coldest area in Japan. Although sometimes other prefectures, how do you say, get colder, but Hokkaido is like when you say Hokkaido, people imagine like snow and that kind of stuff. But what's really cool is that Hokkaido is like their own thing as well. It's like well, it is connected to the main island, I think, by well, I mean, I think you can drive or take the train to Hokkaido. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that other than that, it's like its own island in the very north. And during the summer, vast field and like cows just like grazing, chilling, like farmland and stuff like that. Good seafood. Like people would say that, for example, Tokyo or other places are very much crammed with people, and there's like not as many space. But in Hokkaido, if you go to places, it's like just like wow, and it looks, it almost doesn't like feel or seem like it's the same country depending on where you go. So if you're one of those nature lovers who just love vast like field and nature and like law, or maybe love the snow and be like, yeah, Hokkaido might be the place for you. And one thing that I tried in Hokkaido that was really tasty was this miso ramen. Miso is like a bean paste ramen. That's not really how I want to describe it, because anything that you translate into English is going to sound shitty, like rice balls. It's not fucking rice ball. But anyway, miso ramen is miso based soup ramen, and you can find them all over, anywhere in Japan. But the one that I tried at this like ramen museum kind of place, what's really cool is that when you land in Hokkaido and then you take the train to the main city, Sapporo, then I think it's in like this shopping mall that is easily accessible, and they have this ramen museum-ish place where you can eat different ramen from all over Hokkaido. Like they've got their small how do you say, like restaurant, like open restaurant going on one floor, so you can try all the different flavors, and it's really good. And the one miso ramen that I tried was the best miso ramen that I've tried in my life so far, and it was really good. Oh, there's another thing called the soup curry. It's like curry, but it's soupy. I wouldn't really call it a curry because it's just a thing of its own, but it's so nice because you got this, of course, tasty spice going on. I think I ordered it without like the hot how do you say, burning spiciness and all that, but you get a lot of vegetables, and then you get like chicken, and you just eat, just amazing. Even more so when it's winter, because it gets really cold in Hokkaido, and you just go into the restaurant and you just start eating that, and your body is like really warmed up. It's good. Hokkaido is nice. So yeah, during hot summer, it's really I've never been to Hokkaido during summer, but I hear it's really nice when you kind of escape to the north. And then during winter, if you escape to Okinawa, it's like perfect, theoretically anyway. So I hope this kind of gave you guys an idea a little bit on what might be an interesting, awesome place to visit in Japan. And if you have more questions, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later. And if you guys let me know what you guys want to hear from me in the upcoming videos too. So I'll talk to you guys later, and bye bye.
Boys and girls 男の子は強く優しくて清く正しく君となら